Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Aaron Coffin. I'm here at the June 2022 Mineral Investors Forum in Toronto. It's June 11th. I'm here with Ralph Shearing. He's the CEO of Altaley Mining, one of the companies I invited him to the Metals Investor Forum. Altaley, which trades in Vancouver, ATLY, trades in the US, ATLYF. Unlike a lot of juniors that call themselves mining, Altaley is in fact a mining company. It has a mine called Campo. It's been operating for a few years now. It's done a lot of fantastic improvements. Campo is not an easy ore body, but Ralph and his crew have been doing a great job turning that around. I want to talk about that a little bit, but they also have a second mine called Tawetto that is predominantly gold, silver. It is literally just starting up right now. They're just going through initial shakedown and ramp up, and it should be in full production fairly soon. Let's talk about some of the improvements, because I mean, really the turnaround you guys have done at Campo has been pretty amazing, and I know that's not an easy ore body. Like, it's got a reputation of being tough.
Yeah, Campo, it's probably one of the more difficult volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits because it's very fine grained. A lot of the precious metals are locked up in pyrite, and you've got to go to a microfine grind. So, what we've been doing is just cutting down our costs, making sure we can make this thing pay for the zinc production, but also at the same time doing I term it a full court press on metallurgical studies. So we want to try and solve these precious metal recoveries. Right now we're getting 15%, 15% recovery in gold and maybe 30 to 40% recoveries in silver. So there's a lot of metal going into the tailings facilities these days. So what we've been doing is studying microfine grinding and pneumatic flotation. And that's showing us that there's a very good possibility of increasing even the base metal recoveries, especially on lead. So some of the testing we've done has shown potentially to get up to 60, 80% lead recoveries. And the project lead recoveries are strained. They're like 30, 40% recoveries on lead. So there's a fairly significant upside there. And that'll pull more silver in right away. But more importantly, we did some testing of regrinding the tailings facility, both the historic tailings, the older one, and the new tailings that we're producing. So we reground those to microfine grind. We processed them through a pilot plant at the Jameson Cell Pneumatic Flotation Pilot Plant. And we were able to achieve making a precious metal rich pyrite concentrate, 3 to 5 grams gold and 400, 500 grams silver. So by doing that, that's the first stage of getting us to sort of a forced oxidation and leaching. And there's various technologies. So leach ox process is one, Albion process is another. And those have actually gone through first phase testing with the previous owners at Campo. Okay. And they were very successful. So they actually showed we could get increase in gold from one of the best ore bodies they were mining at the time, up to about 60% recoveries of gold. So that's a 400% increase from what we're getting right now. And they were up to 80% recoveries in silver off of that one ore body. And then they sampled the most distal ore body, which was the most refractory, and they got 45% recoveries in gold and 60% recoveries in silver. So that's what we want to try and push towards, try to achieve that and really increase our precious metal recoveries.
And to be clear too, just so you folks at home know, I mean, Campo right now is a profitable mine. They've managed to spin very nice cash flow, even while they're still working on these issues. And I think for those of you playing along at home, to get some sense of the potential improvement, I mean, what's sort of the average gold and silver grade there? I mean, if you go from 15% to 60%, so like, what do you get?
Well, the global grades of gold are 1.7 grams per ton and about 123, 124 silver. So, those are good high grade results for a volcanogenic massive sulfide deposit.
Yeah.
But if you can't get it, it makes it a little difficult.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to achieve, right?
Yeah. So if you're basically, if you're adding a couple of ounces per ton silver recovery, 0.6, 0.7 grams per ton gold recovery, you guys can do the math at home. It's not chump change. I mean, on a 2,000 ton operation, that's real money. Yeah. And it sounds like you're pretty confident you've got this licked. It's just a matter of what's the best system and then just the logistics of actually getting it in place.
Yeah, it's a fair statement. I mean, we can't promise that it's all going to work, but all of the things that we've been doing are indicating that there's a pathway forward to make it happen.
Well, and the other thing with Campo this year too, massive sulfide mines typically they've got a number of separate, ore body chutes, whatever you want to call it. And I know this year you started mining one that's got significantly higher copper grade. So you've actually added a copper circuit a little while ago.
Just started, about 3 weeks ago, we started producing copper. And actually, that's one of the reasons that our Q1 2022 was a little low. We were developing into that high-grade copper area so we could actually start to produce copper.
Right.
And that lowered our grade going into the mill, and it lowered our recoveries and our revenue. So
Right.
we made $1.25 million in Q1 as opposed to $5 million the Q before.
Right.
So, but there's reasons behind that. We also had a serious breakdown of the reduction gear to the SAG mill. So, we lost 7 days for that. So those combined together to make the Q1 2022 not as good as before. But those are solved.
How much copper do you think you'll be producing now that you're in this more copper-rich ore body? I mean, what?
Well, we're producing about anywhere from 30 to 50 tons of copper concentrate a day.
Okay.
Okay, and the grades on that are from 15 to 20%,
Okay.
depending on what it is. So, and there's quite a bit of precious metal comes along with that as well.
Okay.
So it will pay much better than the lead concentrate. We've sacrificed lead for the time being to produce the copper, but the copper is much, $4 and something cents a pound
Right.
as opposed to 90 cents. So it's a big improvement for us.
Okay. Now your other mine, Tawetto, and it's worth noting that Tawetto is I mean, your early days there, you just started the mill up a couple of weeks ago, but happily Tawetto is not, or should not, to our knowledge, is not a difficult ore body. It's a different type of ore body, and you don't have the issues that you have at Campo.
Not at all. I mean, it's the metallurgy at Tawetto could not be better. And we've proven that with our pre-production testing. We were toll milling about 45,000 tons in, I think, 11 or 12 different campaigns. And the recoveries were great. We were getting 80, 85, 90% recoveries in gold, silver, and lead, and 75 to 80 sometimes in zinc.
Right.
So just totally opposite. But it's a different type of ore body, coarse grained. Flotation is easy. There's no nasties in it. So as difficult as Campo Morado is, Tawetto on the other hand is fairly simple.
And it's predominantly a gold silver deposit.
Yeah, 65% would be gold, another 12% silver for the revenue expectations we have. Maybe the rest is base metals, lead, zinc, and copper.
Okay. And your expectation is you get that to nameplate fairly soon from
Yeah,
there?
so what we've done is we've started up one ball mill. So we're in what I term a pre-production commissioning phase, ironing out all the bugs. And, so we're producing. We've had a few leaks in the water line and going back and fixing those up. So we have to shut down for a period of time. Same thing in the mill, we have a failure in an electrical situation. It's just a normal commissioning thing you're going through. We believe we're getting close to having them all solved. And if we can pull in 1-2 weeks of steady production, then we believe we're well on our way. And that's just both one ball mill. So we're going to install the next ball mill over the next 3-4 months. And by the end of this year, we should be running at about 1,000 tons per day.
Okay.
And that really, it's a game changer for us because that's a very robust, low cost producer. We're going to produce there at about $855 per gold equivalent ounce. That's what the pre-feasibility study says. So, there's a lot of profitability available in that mine.
Right.
We believe that'll produce similar revenue as Campo Morado, although Campo Morado is twice the size.
Right.
Now that's going to change if we solve the precious metals at Campo Morado, but for the time being, that's what it looks like.
Okay. I mean, it's a great story. I mean, these guys have done a great job at, on the ground, was a single mine producer, about to be a 2-mine producer. And once both these things are up, once Tawetto was up and running at 1,000, and once some of this metallurgical stuff is solved at Campo, which again it's already making money, the potential revenue and specifically the intentional bottom line net income potential, the growth here could be actually very large over the next year. I mean, there's a reason why I invited them, why I own a crap load of it. So thanks for walking us through that, Ralph.
Yeah.
That's Altaley Mining, ATLY on Vancouver, ATLYF in the US. Very good development production story. Thanks, folks.